This is my top 20 creepypasta stories. Stories like Penpal, 1999, and The Left-Right Game won't be included because I haven't read or listened to them. 20. My friend is camping alone. His texts are scaring me. This is a great story, especially the first 10 minutes, but the last 20 are still great. It follows a man whose friend is camping alone and strange things start happening. I'm including all three parts as one. Overall, a great mystery, and some pretty unsettling moments. 19. Mayhem Mountain. This story is just a lot of fun. It follows an old friends by a theme park from their youth, but on Mayhem Mountain, they find a secret track. I don't find this story scary, but it is very entertaining. 18. I met my doppelganger, and he stole my life, but this was only the beginning of my nightmare. This is truly an incredible story from start to finish. The main problem is that it's not longer. It follows a man who one day finds his doppelganger at his apartment and his realization of what's actually going on. 17. Alien abductions are real, and they're worse than you think. I want more alien creepypastas. It goes more into the psychological aspect of an alien abduction, and it's incredibly good, and this would be such a horrible situation to be in. 16. I found a letter from my stalker. This follows the protagonist finds a letter of a lost memory involving a strange supernatural experience. That's the best way I think I can describe it. I thought it would be a creepypasta with a stalker as the villain, but no. It's one of the most sad stories ever. 15. I solved the Fermi paradox, and I regret it. I was expecting an alien creepypasta, but I got this, which is great too. It follows a man gets an eye surgery to recover his vision, but the eyes give him the ability to see the invisible creatures lurking on our planet. Just a great story. 14. My patient spent 8 million years under a bench at the Glenmont Metro. This story is a sequel to the story If You're Armed and at the Glenmont Metro Please Shoot Me. This is an incredible sequel and an incredible psychological horror story, truly horrifying being in this position. 13. Onasi's Goatman. This story follows a man recaps a horrific encounter with the goatman when he went camping once. This story knows that fear is the unknown, and it's a pretty realistic story, though so many small details like the goatman sounding like an animal that speaks English and not just a typical demon voice. 12. I died for 6 minutes and saw heaven. A pretty interesting story. I do believe in heaven, and I'm pretty sure it is not like that, but it's still an interesting depiction of heaven and just a great story. 11. Candle Cove. A classic story. It follows a chat log remembering a disturbing TV show from their youth. It's a very short story, but it's still amazing and plays with themes of lost memories, which a lot of people can relate. I know that this has been turned into a season of television, but I have yet to see it. 10. A Shattered Life by M59 Gar. This story follows a man whose life becomes split and must live out of chronological order. Probably the saddest creepypasta story ever. I think it was the highest rated one. Not sleep for a while, and for good reason. So sad. 9. Something walks whistling past my house every night at 3:03. By Grand_Theft_Motto. It's a pretty short, but still great. It follows a town that has something whistling every night at 3:03. And is told through the paw of a child. 8. The Backroads by Paige Turner. I have yet to listen to any of the sequels, but this is a great story by itself. It follows a man accidentally drives into a strange world of road. I guess that's the best way I can describe the plot without going in too much depth. Truly amazing story. 7. How to Survive Hell by Retrotted. This story follows a man gives a guide on how to survive in hell, in a world where hell, a huge city where the world's worst people are, and the only food is human flesh. I don't think this is how hell actually is, but still a very interesting depiction and has some incredible world building and is just so entertaining. 6. Isolation by William Rain. This story is similar to Psychosis. It follows a person with schizophrenia's therapist tells him to go into isolation for a week and to keep a journal. But the protagonist begins losing his sanity even more. A truly outstanding story. It is a very interesting story and a great mind bender. 5. My wife has been peeking at me from around the corners and behind the furniture by Maliartal 1314. It follows a man whose wife begins watching him from around the corners and behind the furniture. This story is simply creepy. It's very rare for fiction to scare me, but this one did it. For Psychosis by Matt Demersky. It follows the mind of a man who hasn't left his apartment in days and hasn't made real human contact in days, as he loses his sanity and begins thinking that some alien parasites took everyone except himself. This story is incredible. It's one of the highest rated on creepypasta.com for a reason. It's a very accurate description of schizophrenia, and I find this story super interesting and entertaining. 3. Abandoned by Disney by Slime Beast. A classic. This was the first creepypasta I listened to, so a little biased on it, but it's still an incredibly interesting and entertaining story. It follows a man explores Mogil's palace, an abandoned Disney resort. That ending with Photonigative Mickey is great, and I'm putting the entire series here, so a few suggestions. Room Zero and Corruptus. Just great series that got me into creepypastas, and it shows how corrupt Disney is. 2. If You're Armed and at Glenmont Metro Please Shoot Me by Peter Frost David. It follows a man whose job is testing drugs, and he's given a drug that temporarily drastically slows down his prescription of time. It's a very short story, but it's so good and pretty creepy if you can imagine yourself in that scenario. When I Dared My Best Friend to Ruin My Life by Zan's Ann 90. It follows a man dares his best friend to ruin his life, but unknowing to him, his best friend is a psychopath. It might sound a little corny, but it's incredibly suspenseful and entertaining. David King is actually an incredible villain, just an amazing story start to finish even if it's pretty long. Honorable mentions: my doppelganger, the host of a late-night talk show. I wrote this story, it's on Reddit, Odd Direction. And I think it's pretty good and short, it's only like 5 minutes. Open Wide is another mention, wrote it too, and you can find it on Reddit. Odd Direction as well. It follows a dentist serial killer's world comes crumbling down.